Is it like giving them a ho-ho with infused vitamin A?
I wouldn't
Or a
say it was
Twinkie?
infused.
A Twinkie?
Who's got chickens? Who's got quail? Who's got hatch rates off the scale? From brooders, coops, and mystery birds. You're listening to Poultry Nerds, talking eggs and talking birds. Science stories, tips you've heard. Welcome to the Poultry Nerds.
This segment is about feed, treats, and summer nutrition myths. I saw this. Scratch corn cools chickens down. And I'm like,
I thought corn heated them.
we like a little extra corn when it's below freezing to warm them up at night. Well,
I've never heard that one.
and the fact of the matter is, corn dilutes. The only thing in corn that's notable is calories, which is pretty high, and vitamin A, which is a notable amount, but not really enough to shake a stick at or write home. And
So
that's
is
all that's in corn.
Is it like giving them a ho-ho with infused vitamin A?
I wouldn't
Or a
say it was
Twinkie?
infused.
A Twinkie?
I wouldn't say it was infused with nothing, but I mean, it's, yeah. And when you give them extra, it raises their body temperature. And with this, a couple of the universities say that scratch and treats should be limited to no more than 10% of their whole diet.
Mm-hmm.
You got folks out there mixing 50-50 layer pellets and scratch. I had a lady call the store the other day. Hey, what's your cheapest 5-way scratch? I said, well, actually, my cheapest scratch is a 7-way. Huh. Well, all right. How much is that? I told her. She said, ooh. And I said, I mean, told her what brand it was. I said, we carry more what birds need, but look, I just need some scratch to throw down to my chickens. They free range all day. I'm gonna give them a little bit of scratch so they can eat. Because I sell a lot of eggs. I said, well, this is all I got in stock right now. I hope you have a wonderful day. I was so tempted to say, if you actually fed your bird.
Yeah. Now, I had somebody come over the other day and pick up some stuff. And I have some Orpingtons that have made their way over to the cow barn. And they have probably been there maybe 4 months at this point, since winter. And I was feeding them the cows over there, and so they were getting what fell from the cows, and they were eating pretty good because that was sweet feed, right?
Mhm.
But then I quit feeding the cows over there because the mice were coming, and anyway, it's a whole nother story. So anyway, I quit feeding the cows over there. Well, that meant the chickens weren't eating either. So Denise comes over the other day and she's like, "Where do you feed those chickens? Do they just come over here to eat and then they go back?" And I was like, I haven't fed those chickens in like 4 months. And she's like, "And they survive?" And I'm like, yeah. Like the cow
I mean,
patties,
they're over
the
there.
ant hills, and I mean, there's no dead ones over there. They're even hatching off babies. So my little cousin over in the back, he's making the round.
I'm going to say he's making his rounds too.
So he must walk all the way over there and come all the way back. I don't know because he seems like he stays in the back all the time.
Well, I mean, I've seen corpse like waddle from one side to the other, and it's so fun to watch them.
If y'all have not seen pictures, I'm gonna post more pictures, but I have probably 50 in the back at
That
least.
sounds like a good number, 50, 75, somewhere in
That's
there.
a lot.
Nobody really knows how many chickens they have.
No, but I have a lot. But yeah. So anyway, all right, what's next? No corn.
No corn.
Is that it?
Treats can replace feed in the summertime.
No. Okay, that was easy. What else?
Yeah. Watermelon and frozen fruit can be fed free choice.
No.
No. It's like everything else, moderation. That overheats chicken, so lower the protein in the summer. Everybody says protein overheats chicken. Well, so I'm gonna say that while protein is not the first, second, third, or fourth thing that's important in a chicken feed, chickens do require a certain level of protein in their body. And in general, since they eat less food in the summertime, they need more vitamins, minerals, amino acid, and protein. So this is not the time of year to change them to like a 12 to 14% protein feed, or give them all scratch that's somewhere between 8 and 12%.
Okay, I
Not
know
time for
I usually always 95% of the time default the nutrition to you, but I would like to impart some logic here.
Whoa, logic?
Yeah, logic.
Chicken people have logic.
So first of all, we need to look at what kind of birds we've got. You can't say chickens know what they follow their natural instinct like we saw on a slide a little while ago. It doesn't play because we've bred chickens to a point that that's not their natural state. A little game bird would be closer to a natural state. So then summertime, the grass would be taller, the bugs would be more plentiful, nature's in full force. So there's a lot more going on out there, and it's a time for them to be eating all that stuff. So lower protein in the summer doesn't make sense because if they're out running around, they're eating bugs and grass and whatever else they can find out there. So, I mean, you've got to use a little bit of logic there. And then to expand on that, my Orpingtons are about as bred from a natural state as you can get because you're not going to find a big chunky 10-pound hen in a natural state. I mean, that has to be bred for. And if I quit breeding for that, they'll eventually reduce in size back to a little 4 or 5-pound game bird looking thing. I mean, you have to continuously breed for size or you will lose it because it's not their natural state. So you have to provide that nutrition in order to maintain that. Am I right?
You are correct.
Okay. So you can't say let them be free and natural and turn them out in a run that's 12 feet long. That doesn't play. And if you say free range, well, that's fine, but are you free ranging on a 50-foot by 50-foot space or like here where they have 18 acres? So that matters too, and then the stocking density on the land matters too,
That matters a lot.
So I've got 50 Orpingtons in the back, but I've got 100 ducks running the same 18 acres, and I don't have a fly or a mosquito or any of those things. So that tells me my stocking density is pretty high because there's no extra bugs flying around.
But the fact that you have grass says it's not too high.
Right. So, you've got to pay attention to you can't just pick something and just feline and harp on it. You have to look at the whole big picture.
And that's what we really want y'all to see by listening to this podcast or watching it, whichever you're doing, is we want you to look at the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you do at your farm may work great for you. If at your farm, your chickens are mostly in the shade all day, they've got clean water all day, they've got food when they need it, and you're not having birds die, well, that's because you are a good chicken tender.
Mm-hmm.
And management is extremely important. We talk about birds' diet a lot. We talk about their water a lot. And people say, well, they'll drink rain out of a puddle. If that's all they have, yes, they will. If that's all you had, you would too. It would not be your preference. But I say that because we have to be the chicken tender to manage the situation and provide them clean water and good food. If they choose to be a kid and play in the mud puddle, that's on them.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to at least give them the opportunity to have what they need. And sadly, a lot of people don't because they say, oh, well, it's just so much. No, you got too many chickens. That is a thing.
That is a thing.
Feed heavy during the hottest part of the day.
Lord have mercy.
People do it.
Yeah. In the shade, maybe.
Wet feed is always better in the summer.
Maybe I need to try that. Wet feed. I have never wetted feed and fed it. Ever.
So a lot of times you can wet it and feed it. You can put it take your mash, put it in old school egg trays. I mean, not egg trays. Well, you could use egg trays or ice trays. Make ice cubes out of it, let it freeze overnight. And I bet some good redneck entertainment would be watching chickens peck on that crap and have a good old time with it. If you put a little bit of oil in there so it doesn't quite freeze and, they just every time they peck at it, something comes apart, it would go a little faster, but they're going to play with it. They're going to have fun with it. So I'm okay with that. The biggest problem is, folks will wet down their food, which is great, especially in the summer because they're eating, they're getting moisture, all the good stuff. But when you don't clean out their feeder and bacteria in the summertime, especially bacteria grows faster, mold grows faster. What you leave in there is a breeding ground for a whole slew of things.
Flies
too. That's where it gets bad.
Mm-hmm.
So wet your feed, but make sure you go back and clean it out. Don't let it get stinky and moldy and no.
So I feed mine on the end of the runs now because that's working better for me. And then when it rains, the feed gets wet. So when I come through in the next morning, I have to dump that wet feed out. And that's where the ducks come in handy because they could care less. They'll eat anything.
Right.
Ducks are better than pigs in a lot of respects. So I just dump it on the ground and the ducks clean it up like it was a buffet from Red Lobster.
And if you flip the things over, because I have some of those same, what we're talking about is the trough style feeders that you've seen both of us posting pictures that kind of hook on the wire, 18 inches long, put the feed in there. I've even tried drilling holes in the bottom of mine to let the water out. They clog up pretty fast with the mash, so I quit trying that. But when you flip it out the next day, number one, 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever, it's not going to start molding that fast. Number two, when you do that, it scatters out. And so more air hits it. It can start drying faster. I mean, I've done that and put fresh feed in there and they come eat that. And then they start eating what I put. But there again, that goes to the management side of it. You've got to clean up. Electrolytes should be given every day, all summer.
I've never bought electrolytes. I'm a terrible salesperson on this show, aren't I?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. You and I both have looked at those little pouches. And what are they mostly considered? Like, what's the biggest ingredient in them?
Salt and sugar.
Yep. There's some of them that only have salt and sugar. And it's mostly salt. And that makes you retain water. It makes you bloat, which I would think would make the chickens even more miserable.
I mean, you don't drink Gatorade all day.
No.
So, I don't know. I've never bought them. So I just use water. I don't make things too complicated.
I mean, they're chickens. It shouldn't be complicated.
Yeah.
Again, if a little is good, more is better.
See how good that is.
Yeah, try none and see how good that is. Or a lot cheaper because some of those powders are expensive.
Really? Like, I don't know anything about them. I've never bought one.
Well, okay, so since opening a retail store, I've looked at stuff and I have vendors that sell things. And I was looking through and I was like, even cost on that crap's high. But I'm not getting any. My wife was like, you should get those. They'll sell a lot. You and Jennifer make fun of people all the time for using so many of them. I'm not selling something I'm not going to use. If it's in my store, I will take it and give it to one of my chickens if they need it. If it ain't in my store, I'm either out of it or I wouldn't use it.
Yeah, I don't sell anything on my website that I don't use. But the theory behind it was when we first started was a little different. I didn't want to buy anything and stock it if I wouldn't use it. Um, because then if I didn't sell it, then I would at least use it, right?
That's how I am.
So gray gel would be the only thing that I buy of that category, and I only use that for shipping.
I was going to say, you might not use it when your birds hatch out, but you do use it as a smart business decision when you ship birds.
Yes.
Because, I mean, hey, you mix a little bit of starter, a little bit of grow gel, enough water to make it turn green. That'll be good.
It's fine.
As long as they don't slow roast.
Yep.
Egg production droppings, summer health myths.
Okay.
Production drops in the summer, the feed must be bad. No, folks, it's the heat stress. It reduces feed intake, egg production, egg size, shell quality because their nutrition's down. It's because it's hot.
Okay, so here's one maybe you came across when you were researching. I saw something today that said too much apple cider vinegar in the water could cause thinning of the shells.
Mhm.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, so the deal with that is the pH of the water has to do with birds' ability to absorb the minerals that's in the feed.
Mhm.
And that's actually what got me to using an auto injector is if your pH is too high, the bird's body will not absorb, they won't absorb some minerals at all. Some of them they won't absorb anywhere near what they should. Because there's been several people that I've worked with that their eggs would be like a pullet in their first couple of days of laying, where it's kind of spongy like, but it'd be a 2-year-old bird that's always laid great in the past. And, we go over everything and they're feeding good feed because they listen on that. And gradually over time, I ask what they feed. The next thing is, have you had your water tested? Is high pH on the water or really low pH? Both can create problems. Somewhere in the 5 or 6 range is ideally what it should be. So,
Well, I would think egg production dropping in the summer could be because the molt was triggered. Light's starting to get shorter during the day. They're freaking hot. I mean, they're broody.
mhm. There's all kinds of stuff going on there.
Yeah, they're tired. They've been laying for months at this point.
And I'll say this, if you're one of those people that we talked about a while ago when we talked about dropping the protein, if you made a drastic change in your bird's feed, that's going to add stress to it. If you're feeding a quality feed, you should not change that feed year round. There's no reason to.
Well, I will say that I have started mixing off lock in with my layer because they're starting to not lay. So I'm starting to switch them off to off lock.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all because they do primarily only need the extra calcium when they're laying eggs. In fact, you could probably save yourself some even more money and buy a bag of oyster shells, and just do the off lock and toss some oyster shells in there. They'll eat around it
Well, I keep
unless
the
they
layer.
need it.
Yeah, I keep the layer for the quill anyway, so it just makes it easier. But right now the breeders, I'm starting to separate the breeders out there, and their feed is half and half off lock and layers. I'm starting to transition them over to off lock for the fall.
I mean, that sounds like a plan.
That's what I do every year.
But you're going from one quality feed to another quality feed.
Yeah, that's true.
Typically, when you're shopping at a big box store and you go from a good feed to a 14% or something like that, it's got a lot of filler and a lot of crap in it.
Gotcha.
Running droppings in the summer always mean disease. No, birds drink more. Typically, they'll drink twice as much as they eat, except for in the summertime because they eat less, but they will drink a lot more. So drinking a lot more water will make their poop runny. I ain't saying it ain't disease, but definitely don't go grab the cord, grab your worming pills, shove them down their throat. Don't do all that. Watch your birds, observe them. Creek water or puddle water is fine because it's natural. Apparently, people that say that have never grown up in the South and never drank water out of a creek and did not have to spend the next 12 to 24 hours in the restroom.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you don't know depending on where you live, you could live like next door to somebody who has True Green Chemline sprayed on their yard and that runs over.
I would say you don't know what's upstream.
Yeah, so here, I live in the middle of a lot of farmland and they have crop dusters that come through in the fall in October, and every year I will lose my voice and get a horrible cough in October from the crop dusters. So I don't know what they're dropping. I've tried to find out, but I can't. So then they have the rabies tag things that they throw out of the airplanes. Have you seen those things? So that's washing into the water. And then,
So there's
Yeah.
just like a rabies chewable.
yeah, like for the raccoons and the possums and stuff to eat. Oh, and
Okay, so we're throwing out rabies medicine
mm-hmm,
for pests.
mm-hmm.
We're going to charge people an exorbitant amount of money for stuff they need,
Yeah,
but the
And-
animals get it for free.
they throw it out of an airplane. Yeah. And then, like, what else? Okay, well, then you have other more controversial stuff. Like, I have a solar farm up the road, and that's supposed to make the ground radiated. But my point being is there's so many contaminants coming in nowadays that you can't control. Even though I personally don't use any chemicals here on my property, I don't know what's being used. Well, I know what's being used behind me. I back up to some state property and they spray Roundup on their fence. So that's
But-
in the ground.
I got a question though. Do solar panels attract sunlight or do they absorb
I
sunlight?
don't even know how they work, but supposedly they somehow mess up the ground. And of course, they have to spray the weed killer. And I don't know. I think this one up here, they put some goats around it or something, trying to eat up the scrub that's growing. I don't know.
Well, they
It's a big
should-
hogwash.
Look, go tell them that for a small fee, you will provide them a service. Find you a bunch of lambs because the lambs won't eat the wires, whereas the goats will. But they'll eat all the. There's a guy that I follow on Facebook in Texas that he raises them, and he's got a couple of solar farms that they're fenced in, and he'll go move his sheep from one to the next, and his lambs from one to the next.
My stupid goats would get up there and dance on them and break them, and I'd have to pay for them or something.
And that's why he says you can't use goats for it because they'll play and break them, or they'll chew the wires.
Or use their horns. They're
Yep.
pretty good with those horns. Like, I don't dehorn mine. Like when I say I use no chemicals, I really mean it. So Dolly's horns were probably a good 12 inches, 15 inches long now, and I've watched her, man. She can scratch places with them, and she's really good with them reaching.
Pretty
stuff.
accurate.
Yeah, she is.
You
Okay,
know,
we'll go down
mine
another rabbit hole.
mine have started headbutting in the front yard.
Well, that's fun.
Wild birds around the pen are harmless.
Lice, mites. Disease, AI, marriage.
all of that stuff.
Mhm.
You know, that type stuff typically comes more from commercial flocks or backyard flocks that have a place for birds to stop off for a while.
Oh, bird feeders. Yeah, I don't use bird feeders anymore. I used to, but not since been keeping chickens. And I do have those stupid pigeons over there. I need to get rid of the stupid pigeons over there.
I think your grandson could take care of that.
Well, I have a friend that's supposed to come over here and take care of them, but did you know that those darn things are like reproducing like every 4 weeks or
Oh, they're
something?
like rats.
Oh my God. There's like, I think David counted 36 now.
Mm.
Yes,
Need,
everything is
need a
covered in
410.
poop over there.
Need a 410. Parasites, natural remedies, old wives' tales.
Well, this will be good.
Yeah. Garlic, pumpkin seeds, or apple cider vinegar will deworm your chickens. A lot of universities say that is total BS. Now, as a preventative to keep your chickens from getting worms, most all agreed on that. But if your birds are ate up with worms, they say that there's no amount of garlic, pumpkin seeds, or apple cider vinegar that will deworm your chickens.
Oh, I mean, I give mine pumpkins and stuff just because they like them. I also don't deworm my chickens, never have. I have a theory, and it's just a theory. So before it gets spread, I'll
Jennifer
take a
at
second.
Poultry Nerd.
I have a theory, but it seems reasonable to me. I think, and I didn't do it last year, but I've always done it every other year.
Mhm.
About 3 weeks in the fall, when everybody gets all excited about deworming their birds,
Mhm.
I will buy oats, whole oats,
Okay.
and I will feed mine oats, which is just fiber, right?
Yeah.
And that would, like when you're constipated, you eat bran and fiber and pushes on everything out, right? So my thought process was bulk up the fiber and anything that's not supposed to be there would just get pushed on out.
Well, and that's why, like with the molt ration of feed, you raise pretty high the fiber and lower the protein and increase everything but methionine. And that does stress the birds. It does cause the molt to happen faster, but the additional fiber helps them drop the weight faster
Mm.
because they're pooping all over the place.
Well, and when in theory, anything that's in there that shouldn't be in there should get pushed out and then you would see it or it will be gone, right? So but I just can't get excited about deworming my birds. Of course we eat ours and every time we butcher them, I do check them and I have never once found worms or anything that shouldn't be there. Um, so tomorrow, which will actually be like a week ago when this airs, but we're going to butcher about 10 breast cockerels that are around 17, 18 weeks. So I'll be
Perfect.
checking all of them, but I mean, I don't know. We just can't get excited and I don't want to eat that stuff. So I just don't deworm ours. But even the old hens, if we do them, I'll look. I mean, all you do is you have to slice open the intestines and look in there. You've already got the knives out and stuff. Just go ahead and slice it open.
Well, and I mean, when you open a bird up, you can tell based on how their insides look if there's some things that ain't right
Mm.
before you even slice open the.
Yeah. So I mean, we slice it all open, but I mean, all of our birds that we cut open on purpose, the lungs are pink, the liver is maroon color, the intestines are clean, the meat isn't discolored. I mean, what else do you want? If in doubt, you don't eat it, right? And
Yeah.
I'm never in doubt. Like we had a turkey last year that had obviously like cut her leg, and her leg was had some weird spots in it. So we just tossed the leg to the pigs, and but the rest of it was fine.
Toss the rest of it in the oven.
Too fun.
DE will eliminate mites
Sure.
in some situations.
I use it. So
But and I've seen a lot of people talk about doing it a lot of different ways. But folks, I'm here to tell you that according to me, the feed guy that studied nutrition for several years, according to another one that I know that's been in it for 40 years, quite a few universities and ag extensions, it's perfectly fine to put a little bit of that stuff in their food.
Mhm.
You create an environment where the parasites don't want to be, and they won't be there.
Well, chances are it's in the bag of food of everybody listening.
Yeah, because a lot, especially this time of year, a lot of manufacturers will add it to there because of grain mites.
Mhm.
There's so many people, like I saw this in a group last week too, panicking about grain mites. They're like, you need to take that back. That's not good. That feed's old.
Oh, my word.
And I'm like, I was like, no, it's not old. How do grain mites have to do with how old the feed is? Grain mites simply means that the person that grew those grains did not hose them down with pesticides.
Mhm.
I have literally had feed come from where I get my grains in Pennsylvania, got on the back of a trailer, brought straight here. Like literally, they stacked the pallet, shrink wrapped it, stuck it on the trailer, and they left. And when we were unloading it here, he says, "What are these little bugs?" I said, "You've never seen those?" He's like, "No." I said, "You remember when I was telling you about grain mites?" Yeah, that's grain mite. But, up in Pennsylvania, they don't have the humidity and they don't really have the heat that we have down here. So the eggs, like, they can incubate in that bag.
Yeah, I don't think anything about it just because we've always seen them. Now, David used to be in pest control years ago. And one day I mentioned to him, we were at one of the box stores buying food, way back when. And I was like, you never see gray mites on the feed at the store. And he just looked at me and he goes, "Do you know how much spray they put down in a place like this?" And they'll spray everything. Because if you think about it, all that feed in those box stores and you never see roaches or mice or anything like that going on in there. And but then we have so much trouble with them at the barns because the mice will come out, the rats will come out, everything comes out.
Man, I bet they fog them places down once a week at least.
Yeah, and you know what? That was the last bag of feed I ever bought at that store. And we started buying it before I bought it from you. I was actually driving to almost the Kentucky line to a little farm in Orlinda. It's not there anymore, which is why we quit buying from there. It was an older couple, and they call it a century farm here in Tennessee.
Mhm.
And so it's a century farm, and they grew, milled, and bagged and sold all on the farm. It never left the farm. And it was certified organic. And it was like $20 a bag.
Oh,
Yeah. We used to drive up there and fill the truck and brown paper
right.
bags just like yours.
That's how you know they were growing it, making it, and doing it all themselves.
Yeah. And then you would get home and it'd be full of green mice. But you know what else they had there? He had this little white building. I think it was an old milk parlor building. And it didn't look like anything. Like the trees were grown up around it and stuff. And then you walked in, it was clean as a whistle and it was full of freezers. There was like 10 freezers in there. He was selling grass-fed, grass-finished beef in there. And man, yeah, we used to buy all our beef there. And so that's partly why we started growing our own because we knew how good it was.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, grass finished is really good. So, anyway, that was another rabbit hole, wasn't it?
If one bird looks okay, the whole flock's okay.
False.
Chickens hide weakness.
Yes.
A lot of times they will hide when they're weak. That's why you need to watch them. Pay attention to them. And I think you need to watch your birds regularly, because if you don't know what the norm is, you can't really spot what's not normal.
Yeah. Well, a good example of that would be I was feeding, well, that hot day. Was it last Thursday, I think?
Yeah, you're going to have to be more descriptive than the hot day.
And I was feeding, and the Orpingtons in that pen didn't come down to eat, and I couldn't see them. And I was like, what is going on? And so I finished feeding and I went back and they still hadn't come out. So I went up there to see what was going on. And that's where the dead hen was. And they were all standing there with her. And I took her out and they all ran down there to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But they were standing with her. So
Yeah,
yeah.
they have respect for the deceased.
Yeah. So even as many birds as I have, I mean, they all have personalities and I know when somebody's off. Yeah.
You only need to worry about heat during the day.
No, I get really cranky when I'm hot at night.
Like, I can't sleep if it's not. So, no, that's bullcrap.
Yep, agree.
All right. So, this is just a summary of all the stuff that we've talked about. Poultry Nerds, lightning round. And we'll let you read over it. Do not replace feed with treats.
No.
If you just have to scratch the itch and use an additive, all we're asking is that you follow the instructions. More is not better. And biosecurity, if anything, matters more in the summer than any other time of the year, because in the summertime, everything is a breeding ground or anything. So, yeah, good poultry keeping beats internet myths every time. Watch your birds, manage your environment, feed your flock correctly. Don't be a jerk to your chickens. See you next week.
Bye.